I still haven't figured out how to attach my sound effects to it yet, but that's just me being lazy.
Well, that's learning process too, you know,
Yeah,
like everyone has the learning curve. Like even I'm doing the podcast with Dina Lohan, and we're supposed to air bi-weekly, but the point of our podcast was kind of like we get to do whatever we want, you know, like she's the OG. And I think a lot of people haven't heard her side of the story. And I think she's actually, people don't realize, like, I started my career in this industry by working for the Lohan. So I was Lindsay Lohan.
You know, I want to ask you, how did you get into that, producing?
Yeah. Like, I was, what happened?
I mean, in general, like, these people become producers. There's not a school to go to or a degree. No. Like, how do you...
So I went to school at Northeastern University for broadcast journalism.
Okay.
Out of school, because Northeastern has a great program where it's a co-op program, so you get to work, get paid, and get credit. So basically, when you're out of that school, I had my first job at Alice and Olivia.
Oh.
Yeah, like some people out of college don't even get a job. Like that's their concern. I worked for the Donnie Deutsch show for one of my co-ops, and I just started seeing the producing element of it, and I loved it. And
so that was at Sirius, right?
No, that was his TV show at NBC.
Okay, because I listened to him on Sirius.
Yeah, CNBC had a show, and then Janice Dickinson, all these celebrities would go on, and I would get my feet wet by booking them. So I interned. Then I worked my way up as a production assistant. Then I got a job at the Maury Povich show, and I loved the whole storytelling of it, you know. And then I worked my way up. I worked really hard for 3.5 years. I was with Maury Povich. I worked from production assistant to associate producer to producer, to segment producer. And then I went to Anderson Cooper, had to work my way up for his daytime television show. Then I worked for Bill Cunningham, who used to be a radio host, but then had a television. So it's all about your work, but then who you know, of course, recommending you. But listen, I know everybody in the business. That's why everyone's like, how come you're not on every billboard? How come you're not on every channel? But that also doesn't help. Like, you can know everybody in the business, but is everybody in the business willing to help you? Is everyone in the business willing to find a place for you, you know? So I started working hard behind the scenes, and then I realized that I had a career in producing, and also I wanted to be an on-air talent, which is hard to combine. So how I got my foot in the door, though, before Donnie Deutsch, sorry, I'm rambling, but before Donnie Deutsch, I worked for the Lohans. So I used to be close with Lindsay Lohan. We were best friends growing up. And in her height,
did you meet her as a kid?
So our moms, it's kind of crazy, sorry. So we have a mutual best friend who went to school with her in Merrick.
Okay.
And every time my mom was a working mom, and at the time it was kind of taboo, like with Jewish kids, like in the community, like the moms really stayed at home and the husbands went to work.
Okay.
So I didn't really speak of it because a lot of times I would be my mom would be late for carpool, not, you know, and it's not her fault. Like she was trying her best. So
too.
Yeah, right. So you can relate. Yeah. So Lindsay's mom, Dina, would be the one picking us up. She'd be the, you know, and she'd be the one bringing us to the house, giving us our food and our snacks. Like she's a really good mom. And she would also take Lindsay to rehearsal and set. And I told them I wanted to be in the business. And Lindsay always said I was funny. That's where the comedy came out of. She's like, I really think you should focus on hosting and comedy. I think you have a really good knack for it. She's like, you're learning. And I learned everything from her. Like, you would be surprised. You go on set. I always tell people, you want to get in this industry, learn to be an assistant for a big celebrity, for a major celebrity, because once you get all that packed down, you could do it all. And that's really what I did. I learned from her. Then Dina took me under her wing as her executive assistant. Then they promoted me internally as a producer, like an in-house producer of pitching them projects. And then I went on and, you know, produced all that other stuff, and the rest is history. So I'm not just a princess of Long Island. You know? I'm not just waiting for Prince Charming to rescue me with his white horse and
So Lindsay Lohan
so that you can be a maid
on Long Island?
For Nancy, so that you can be a maid and a cook for some guy.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, right. So I could be, and I don't mind that. I don't mind being domestic, but I do feel like I need my independence. And
oh my God, I laughed so hard during that scene. And he's like, "Do you want to come see my apartment?" And you're like, "No, thank you."
And I'm like, what is Coco, a freaking? You know, I didn't mean maid.
No one's maid and cook.
Yeah, but and people shouldn't be maids and cooks, but men sometimes, old school men mentality, they treat women like they have to be you know, waiting on their hand and foot for them. And I don't.
You're currently single, right?
I'm currently single.
And okay,
how are you gonna date?
I don't. Well, that's a good question.
In the pandemic, I guess you FaceTime.
Well, I've been going on apps, and to be honest, I'll meet some people. Like I recently went out with this guy, but it's hard for me to date because either they know who I am and they want something out of it, or they want to screw the Princess of Long Island to say I had a one night with her, that happened. Oh, this one guy who was like a lawyer, totally thought he was a good guy. Met him on Hinge. We were supposed to make a plan. We were literally supposed to go out for dinner. And he goes, honestly, I don't think I'm going to make it because I'm going to be real with you. I just wanted to know how it felt to get the Princess of Long Island in bed. And I was like, first of all, I would never go to bed with you unless you took me out on 10 dates. So I'm really expensive. Bitch, I'm really expensive. And they don't like when you say that too, by the way. They're like, oh shit. And I
don't even know what to say.
Oh, I screenshot. It's true.
Yeah.
I can't believe he came right out and said it though.
Well, yeah, and the other guy recently he just wanted me to promote his business and make him famous. And I'm like, bitch, I'm still trying to be famous. And like,
yeah, so you ain't got no room for that right now.
Yeah, he's like, I'm promoting my business. The whole world should love it. I was like, we're all selling something.
And it's tough. It's tough right now. I mean, you know, you can't do stand-up, especially in New York City. I'm still not over this yet, but I was supposed to open for Jessica Kirson. And
wow!
Yeah, it's September, I think 10th.
That's amazing.
Cindy. Yeah, well, I don't think it's happening, sweetheart, because because Cuomo closed down the clubs. He said no comedy.
But wait, what's happening then I'm getting confused. Maybe you can educate me.
Because they're doing outdoor shows.
They're doing outdoor shows, so I don't understand. And by the way, maybe all three of us can come up with I would love to do comedy show with you because I'm working on comedy shows with you.
Listen, Chanel, I do a ton of Zoom shows. We're going to talk about that later. I do some with people in LA. Okay. And I would love, and we can hook up. And you know what? For me, the Zoom show, I don't care who's listening. I'm telling jokes. That's it.
That's the influence I want to be around.
Right.
See, that's the encouragement I want to be around.
So if, you know what?
I don't want these little voices in my head. You can't do it. It's very
you know what? Anytime you're bored, hit me up. I will me and you can Zoom. We can throw our jokes at each other.
Great.
I'll punch you up.
I'll promote it.
Punch me up. You know what I mean? It's just about getting together and telling jokes.
But that's a big right and by the way, it's surprising though to me that they canceled your show because
we don't know yet.
We don't know yet
that's
because
the one that's not. Rachel Feinstein, I had tickets for her. She got moved. I think they're still holding out.
But Chris Stefano and it's weird because all their shows are going on. Unless
where though?
That's the good question. Maybe in different cities other than New York.
No, they're out of New York.
That's what it is.
Right, because because everybody I'm following is doing outdoor shows. Jessica Kirson's been doing a few outdoor shows. A couple, I believe, were on Long Island. She was doing some.
Oh, that's another thing. Garden City Hotel. I'll hook you up. If I do the show there, I'll put you as one of the comics or, you know, if you know, because that's another thing we collaborated on is that, you know, they want to showcase again, like they're pushing their brand and they didn't realize that there's comedy outdoor. And I told them, people are doing comedy outdoor for a while. Yes, we can
do parking lot shows. Absolutely. But I'll tell you, I mean, for me, I'm just, you know, I've been writing while I'm in, and I don't have anybody to work out this new stuff with. So even if I'm doing an open mic with a bunch of people from California on Wednesday night, 20 of us.
Oh, you're in California now?
No, I'm in New York. We're doing it on Zoom.
On Zoom. Oh, wow. That's
crazy. So it's 20 people, 20 other comics, and we're all doing 7 minutes. And then after we're done, we just give each other feedback. And that's what I need, you know, is because I don't know if this new stuff is going to work. And I didn't want to write too much COVID because I feel like it's going to, I got a lot of tags though about the COVID to go kind of with my other material.
Yeah, I'm being also like cautious, I guess. You know, it's funny because I had Jill Cargman from Odd Mom Out on Bravo. She's a comedian writer.
Yeah.
She was on my podcast and she said, Chanel, you can't always work. I get you're trying to be sensitive towards racism and towards COVID, but you also can't filter yours and towards anti-Semitism.
Yep.
But isn't comedy about the fact that we can get in the room and talk about that stuff and be funny?
But how quickly? Me and you could talk about this forever.
Hours,
We'll do it on another show. We'll break it all down. But
sure.
I'm with you. I am struggling walking that politically correct line because I already walk it. And Jen and them know I'm like, ooh, read the crowd, Cindy. Like I have told jokes at very woke places, bars where they're very woke millennials, and it's just fallen on its face. And that, you know what I mean? It's like I got to learn to read the crowd before I bring out the real raunch or the real, kind of walking that politically correct line. But I know Jessica just got some shit, man. They were like trying to go after her for a joke that she told.
Yeah, recently. It's becoming like cancel culture.
And Jessica is the one of them that's like, she just gets so angry. And I am not a clean comic, so I do walk the line.
Me too. See, I feel like because I've been a clean comic, if I do say something, eyes will be more on me because of princesses and everything. It's like their way to be like, gotcha, girl, you're coming down. You know what I mean? Like,
you already have your persona.
Yeah, so I have to like get away from it as much as possible.
Yeah, well, I'm just the loud, obnoxious, fat lesbian with 2 really dumb millennial kids. So, and my family's in the porn business.
Do they laugh at your? I love that.
My father owned a strip club when I grew up.
That
girl, I got
do you
material
talk about
for
that?
Hell yes.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It's
See,
so
that's
funny.
the producer in me. See, like I'm like
yes.
you. We're like I'm like the two of you. We're like I'm an entrepreneur. I run the shows, but then I'll host them, or I'll do my 5 minutes. And a lot of people can't like comprehend that. They're like, "What do you mean you're producing?" And I'm like, "Did you ever hear of Lena Dunham? Did you ever hear of how many people? Insecure, that show with Issa Rae, like that's what they're all about. They're stand-up comics that took it to TV based on their life, and that's funny. I can't believe that's hilarious.
And that's everybody's, so many people are trying to get shows over, but over their comedy sets, their bits. Ellen DeGeneres got the very first show. A lot of it, it was so quirky. Her very first, remember with the coffee house when she.
Yep.
And it was all based on her, Ray Romano. So many.
Another great comic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the people I follow too. That's why it's not always about the punch joke for me.
Right.
It's more about like impersonations and like Cedric the Entertainer was on the podcast. We were talking about comedy because I'm also working with him, by the way, on a new project called Fan Room Live. And I'll include you guys if this is like a comedy thing where we're going to get all these comics together to talk to their fans on a Zoom one-on-one, and then proceeds go to charity. When I spoke to Cedric about comedy, he's like, look, Chanel, you're funny. Like, it's not like you're more funny with your experiences. You're not the punchline joker. So don't be the punchline joker. You know what I mean? Like, so I try to take advice from certain people too. That's why I say you can do it in front of other comics, but if your audience is laughing at an outside parking lot, that should give you confidence enough that that joke is funny.
Yeah.
Because another comic might not think it's funny, but that doesn't mean it's the masses.
No, right. I mean, open mic is really tough, obviously, to judge if your new material's working because they've listened to me so much. But when I get off stage, even though, they're like, that was good, and they'll be like, hey, they'll throw me a tag. And I love when people, and I'll be more than happy. You could run by some of your stuff with me at another time, and I will definitely help you punch it up because that's what I enjoy doing. But I have to say, I'll throw a lot of stuff at Jen and them, and they'll be like, all right, and then they'll throw me a tagline, But yeah, I mean, let's face it, when a lot of these comedians that are doing these, like Amy Schumer, you think she's specifically writing all that at this point? It's her ideas, and they're punching them. And I think her sister and her go back and forth, and her sister helps her with a lot of her jokes. It's Amy. It's her jokes, but her stories, but people help make them funnier.
And that's what I was trying to tell that hater in comedy.
Have to come up with a new hour every year. Fortune Feimster, I watched her work on that new hour.
Love her.
If she comes, I've got her. I'm opening. So let's fingers crossed when this pandemic's open that I get her. But yeah, I mean, so just watching them work on that hour and how like her material, she only had a solid 40. I saw her the next time, she got it up to 50 minutes. Then it was the hour. I just love watching the process, and it's all part of learning. And I love to watch how people are creative. I think all of that helps. Watch stand-up comedy on TV as much as you can. I try to at least watch once a week, even as something that's over again, because right now we're not going to mics. I am not listening to other people's jokes. I'm like, whoa, it'll make me think of something in my life.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
It's the best homework, best.
Right.
Best
so watching comedy does help. It's not like not that you're copying what the comics are saying, but it's making you think, oh my God, I remember this story about me. And it just kind of like triggers everything in your mind.
Totally.
So that, yeah, I really, and we could talk about comedy forever, but
Forever,
whatever.